Good morning, good morning, good morning. Today we're going to just talk about the downfalls of LLCs and have an open discussion, live Q&A, so that way people can get their questions answered. And just a few housekeeping rules. Today is just a general conversation. It is not meant to do anything else other than educate people. And we're going to do that this morning. So we're going to just give it a few more minutes to allow people to join the live, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Again, we're going to go ahead and give it a few more minutes for people to join the live, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning. We're just giving it about another 60 seconds, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. All right. Again, as I mentioned, my name is Dwayne Williams. I sit in the CEO chair. Good morning. Of Mac Enterprise Consulting, and today we're going to just be talking about the downfalls of having an LLC. And some of the stuff, some people have heard me speak about on other social media platforms, but today I kind of wanted to just at a very high level just talk about a few points that you know we need to cover as it relates to an LLC and things of that nature. And I want to go ahead and start it off by saying that by no means am I saying that you made the worst mistake in life by opening a business, because I think that is very commendable that you have a business and you wanting to do things for yourself. The intent of the conversation is to make sure that you understand that while you wanted to open a business, maybe having a LLC wasn't what you thought it was. And a lot of times people just think about I have a business and not necessarily think about the liability perspective. They're not thinking about the taxes. They're not thinking about, when and if they need to get business funding and things of that nature. So, as we've heard in so many different conversations, perception is reality. So if we take that concept and we think about it, typically when you speak to a business owner and you ask the question, why did you choose an LLC? Some of the things that people say is, well, if something happens to me, then, or it happened to my business rather, then, I'm going to be protected, if you will. And I want you to kind of think about that from the investor's perspective. It comes across as if the only reason some people open the LLC is because they're anticipating something happening and they don't want to have to necessarily be held responsible. And when you're thinking about it from an investor perspective, why would I want to do business with anyone who thinks or who automatically assumes if something happened, they don't have to necessarily, be responsible? So I think, there's a lot of underlying things that are being said. And I don't think people, consider those things. And realistically speaking, whenever you do have an LLC and you try to apply for something, I know without a shadow of a doubt, and anyone else would know without a shadow of a doubt, that whatever you are applying for, or whatever business venture you're trying to get into, or whatever contract that you're trying to get, having an LLC is almost saying that, look, I'm going to present you my business, but I'm also going to present to you my personal problems as well. And I don't think people think that far into it. And hence why I think a lot of people run into the situations that they run into now. Because again, you can be a woman and trying to do business. And if you're trying to do business with, just men, sometimes it can be hard for you to cross that barrier because you're a woman. Or, race is a huge thing in America, by the color of your skin. So it's almost like when you have an LLC, you're presenting to everyone else something that is connected to a person. You're presenting something that will always come with attachments. It's going to always come with something other than the business at the forefront. So there's a few things that I kind of want to bring up. Number one, when you are a single member LLC, obviously there is self-employment taxes that you have to pay. And for those that don't know, the self-employment tax is 15.3%. That consists of Social Security and Medicare. Just because you are a self-employed individual, that doesn't mean that you don't have to pay what every other American pays, which is federal taxes, Social Security, and Medicare. Um, when it comes to the growth potential, unfortunately, an LLC can never, ever, ever, ever issue stock. It can't. And corporations can issue stock, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're looking for particular investors, investors like to be able to, buy into things that they can get a return on their investment. Well, whenever you have a company that I can't even buy into, even if I wanted to, because it doesn't issue any type of stock, then, it also limits your growth potential. And we have seen over and over and over, especially I have, that every state operates differently. So whenever you do have an LLC, what one state may allow, another state won't. And here's the other thing that I don't think people consider. Whenever the owner of a single member LLC dies, that LLC has to be dissolved. So the idea of leaving something for your family is just basically going out the window because that LLC is connected to you. So today I'm going to, kind of go back to the basics. I'm going to share my screen here in a little bit and I'm going to go back to the basics. And the intent of me going back to the basics is just to kind of walk people through the process so that way people understand it, they can see it. Um, they can see it, they can see it and understand it for themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and we're going to just kind of have a conversation. All right. If you can see my screen, give me a thumbs up or just say yes, you can see my screen. Again, if you can see the screen, just type yes in the comments or a thumbs up if you don't mind. Thank you, Megan. Dion, what's up, man? Saw that you sent an email. We're going to go ahead and get to it. What's up, Mike? Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. So I know this may be repetitive for some people, but just kind of bear with me. We're going to get into the meat and potatoes and answer a lot of questions. All right. As we all know, my favorite source, just sitting here in my office waiting on FedEx to deliver my desk. Absolutely. So for those that don't know, my favorite, source of information is the Internal Revenue Service. And I use the Internal Revenue Service for a purpose because I want people to know that, it's coming from from a factual place. So going back to the beginning, and again, just bear with me. We're going to get through it all. We're going to talk about a little bit more advanced stuff, but I want to kind of start from from the beginning, just because there may be some people watching that have never heard me speak before. So, first and foremost, when beginning a business, it is up to you to decide what type of business that you want to establish. The most common forms of businesses are sole proprietorships, partnerships, corporations, and S corps. The limited liability company is a structure allowed by state statute. And I want to kind of stay here for a second because I want people to understand what that means. What that simply means is a limited liability company doesn't have any tax, if you will. The business itself does not pay taxes. There is no tax rate for a limited liability company um, at the federal level, none at all. So typically, you would have individuals have tax brackets, corporation has a tax rate, but a limited liability company doesn't have one. It's passed through to the people, to the owners or the members, right? So automatically, whenever you have a business structure that isn't even recognized at the federal level, that should be a very clear indication that it at least should spark some sort of question that you should ask yourself. Why is it that I'm not recognized at the federal level? Right. And when we go a little deeper into it and you select limited liability company, owners of an LLC are called members. And as short as this sentence is, this sentence has so much weight to it. This sentence has so much weight to it because if you are a single member LLC, um, this entire sentence is meant for two or more people. Good morning. My notifications failed me. I sent out an email. I kind of took the advice of a few of the members when I was on TikTok the other day, and they stated that maybe if I sent an email out, just letting people know. So I tried it, hoping that would help. So I'm not sure why the notifications didn't come. Cool deal. So this sentence right here, I think, is the beginning of where people start to lose their sense of identity when it comes to the business, or rather, they start to lose the intent, right? So if this sentence says owners, which is plural, are called members, which is plural again, this is where I believe many people should understand that if I am trying to run this business by myself, then maybe this isn't the best thing for me, because the entire intent behind the LLC was always designed for two or more people. So again, going back to my original statement, the fact that you tried to open a business by yourself, I commend you for it, and I think is a great thing. Um, but you just kind of shoot yourself in the foot because you are trying to operate a business by yourself, and that business model was intended for two or more people. All right. Now, the other part of that conversation is, and I want to go back to a statement that I made uh probably every time that I bring this up. As when I mentioned that LLCs doesn't have any type of tax rate, typically when people have a single member LLC, they're filing their taxes right here. And I had a conversation with a client this morning, and it was actually a really good conversation. This particular client was, you know, basically asking the question, if she personally guarantees something for the business, will she still be responsible for the business? And the truth of the matter is, anytime that you have to personally guarantee anything, you are going to be responsible for it. And what most people don't understand is, whenever you file your business taxes and you place your business income on your U.S. individual income tax return, you have already like you've personally guaranteed that business. You've personally taken responsibility for that business. And whenever you, as an individual, take responsibility for anything that the business does, if something should happen to the business, then naturally they have to come after you as well, because you are the person that's responsible for it. And whether you agree with paying taxes or not, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. you're taxed on the money that you make. Like, you earn it, but then you have to pay taxes on it. You're taxed if you go to the store to make a purchase. You're taxed if you purchase a home. Like, there's taxes everywhere, anytime that you look around. So whether you agree with paying taxes or not, this is just the United States and we live in it. And this is, something that we have to deal with. And from this particular perspective, and I get this all the time where people say, and I've even had someone come on a live and say, California, the state of California says my limited liability company is a separate entity. So when I say, well, when the statement says a limited liability company is allowed by state statute, it also says each state may use different regulations. So just because the state said you were separate, unfortunately, the state does not issue your EIN. If you go get an EIN number from the Internal Revenue Service, then it doesn't matter what your state says at that point. It does not matter what your state says, because anything that you attach this EIN number to is where you have to abide by the rules and regulations of them. So again, I don't mean to be repetitive, but I'm just trying to connect the dot for this. So if I go on to the Internal Revenue Service website and I go through the process of getting an EIN number for an LLC, the IRS is extremely clear. You've chosen a limited liability company, what it is and what it is not. And whenever you see this, what it is not, it doesn't matter how many times someone told you that you are a separate entity. An LLC will never be incorporated. It can't be incorporated. It can't. So whenever you hear someone use the phrase, hey, I've opened me up a limited liability corporation, that is an untrue statement. It is not a limited liability corporation. It's a limited liability company. Corporations file articles of incorporation. An LLC file was called an articles of organization. But whenever you see the words incorporated and the IRS says LLCs are not incorporated, it doesn't. And again, I don't want to keep beating this over keep repeating myself, but an LLC will never be incorporated, and a business is incorporated when it's been granted a charter legally recognizing it as a separate entity. Whenever you use your EIN number, that EIN number is attached to a structure. Whenever that EIN number is attached to a particular business structure, you have to understand that you have to abide by the rules and regulations for that particular structure. So if an LLC can never be incorporated, that lets you know whenever that EIN number is used for that LLC, you're not writing that number down and walking away with, hey, this is a separate thing. No, anything that you tie that EIN number to, hey, Love Bomb, anything that you tie that EIN number to, that means you're tying yourself to it. And I want people to understand that anything that you tie that EIN number for a single member LLC to, you also attaching yourself to it. So if you die, guess what else dies? The LLC. I'm not sure why the notifications didn't. I'm not sure why, but I do think that I'm going to take the approach of um, sending email notifications to people before I go live. I think that's kind of pretty cool. So I'm gonna do everything I can intentionally to try to at least give it 30 minutes to say, hey, I'm going live, to see if that kind of helps. bypass some of these notifications. So anyway, any questions about that? Like, is anyone unclear? Does everybody understand that? Again, I know I've probably beat this page up tremendously, but I just want to make sure that people are clear that it doesn't matter what somebody else told you. The people that are telling you did not write the tax code. People that's telling you aren't responsible for issuing the EIN, right? So when I make the comment, LLCs are not legal separate entities, it's basically coming from this. Nothing more, nothing less. Okay. Now, digging a little deeper into that, whenever a business is a legal separate entity, just like, you and I have our own privileges, you and I have our own rights, and you and I have our own liabilities, basically our bills, our debt, right? Whenever you look at that, there's so many things that fall underneath the word privileges. There's so many things that fall underneath the word rights, right? You have to understand that when a business can have its own privileges and its own rights, that's when you start to see financial freedom follow. Because if you do everything underneath those, if you like just take it for what it is, if I go after every privilege that I have as a separate entity, then this is where I can now, write my own ticket to financial freedom. I think people have overcomplicated the LLC because they're trying to make everything fall underneath something that, I mean, take it for what it is. It's limited in every sense of the word. There's limitations to what you can do with this. And I don't want people to misunderstand that whenever you have something that you are tying yourself to that has limits, you can only go so far. You can only go so far. Don't put yourself in a position to where you're basically hindering yourself from actually getting to the next level. All right. The other thing that I want to kind of talk about is this. I'm going to teach y'all taxes real quick. And I'm only bringing this up because part of it came in a conversation yesterday. All right. So again, whether you agree with taxes or not, it's just a part of the life that we live in. Understand that, and I'm gonna try to simplify this. Anytime that you make a certain amount of money, live chat is not working. Why? Hold on one second. I just got a text. Someone is trying to chat and they say live chat is not working. One second. One second. It worked. Yep. Strange. Okay, so I see it. Keith, can you try it again? Now it's working. Oh, okay. So maybe because I, mm, Interesting enough. So there was a ad that was trying to play. Maybe that was the reason why you couldn't send the chat. I don't know. But Keith, try it one more time if you don't mind. That is extremely interesting. So I have one person sending me a text saying that they can't send any. Huh. Now that sucks. All right, I'm gonna have to figure out why that doesn't work. I'm gonna have to figure out why it doesn't work, and I do apologize about that. He says the airplane won't fly. All right. So yeah, I'm not sure, Keith. Everybody, so there's other people that can send a text chat. Okay. Anyway, let's go back to taxes. So um, I know a lot of times people get hung up on taxes, and this is me trying to, I'm not trying to teach you to become a tax professional. Um, maybe so. What I'm trying to just do is teach you to just understand. Let's just say that you make $150,000, right? If you're single, you're at 24% in taxes. What people try to do is, how do I take my income and place my income in a different tax bracket? How do I go on record to say no? I didn't take home $150,000. I only took home $100,000. And here is where the idea of write-offs came, and why everybody always says, man, what are some of the expenses that I can write off? This, that, and that, and the other. It's because you're trying to take your original tax bracket, and you're trying to place yourself in a different tax bracket. Now, mind you, as a as I mentioned earlier, as a single member LLC, you also have, as I mentioned, your Social Security and Medicare taxes, which is 15.3%, right? So the idea is, if I make $100,000, right, I'm automatically, when I add another 15.3% on that, I'm automatically at a higher tax bracket because I'm actually paying taxes on $100,000. When you try to reduce your income by writing things off, this is me connecting the dot. Hold on a second. That way I can give you my train of thought. We're telling that we're telling the Internal Revenue Service that we're trying to cancel the record of a bad debt, and we're acknowledging the loss or failure to recover an asset. We're dismissing something as insignificant. We're literally just basically saying, I am acknowledging the loss or failure to recover an asset. So whenever we do that, on one end, it came in, Coach Keith, on one end, it satisfies us not having to pay taxes, but it also, on the other end, it contradicts it because it's basically telling a story. I have this business, but I'm writing things off. I'm not making any money. And if you're only in business to satisfy your tax bracket, then there's another way around it. Instead of you taking the loss, why don't you just open a nonprofit, and just donate the money to charity. You're still reducing your tax, like you're still moving from one tax bracket to the next, but you're not raising your hand up to say, you know what, I'm dismissing things in my business as insignificant. I'm acknowledging a loss. You don't have to do that. You don't ever have to put yourself in a position to show that you're losing. You didn't miss a lot. I've only been on 30 minutes, right? So I'm gonna pause in here for a second. Does anybody have any questions about what we're discussing? No, we good? All right, cool. If you have a question, just type it in the chat. So I'm not saying that you have to have this American Red Cross type of nonprofit organization. I'm just giving you a strategy to stop losing. I'm giving you a strategy that would say, hey, I don't have to keep making some of the same mistakes that I've made before. That's it. That's it. And I know most people don't think that far ahead. It is simply, what's up, Chris? Man, what's up, Chris? Hadn't seen, man. We have to catch up. We have to catch up. One second. This is another person trying to send a message. One second. Yes, sir. Will do. Promise you that. So again, instead of showing that your business took a loss, donate your money to a charity and then allow your charity to invoice your regular companies. Some people would call it tax evasion. I call it tax avoidance. And here is where it all makes sense. And you have to, so think, and I had this conversation yesterday with someone. As a single member LLC, of course, it's going to seem like tax evasion because you would be if and let me go back because I'm talking and I'm gonna give you my train of thought. What if your operating company was a what if your operating company was an LLC? Would this strategy still work? No. Why? Because this is going to be good. Because you as an individual file your business taxes on a Schedule C, which is attached to your 1040. Let me pull up the Schedule C. So because your schedules, your business income as a LLC is attached to your individual income tax return, you doing you going donate to charity and then having your charity hire your LLC, that's tax evasion. Because you're saying from a personal perspective, I'm taking my individual income tax, I'm donated to charity, but then I'm letting the charity give me the money back. That's tax evasion. But because your business would be a corporation, I knew it was going to do it. It was going to time me out. Sorry. Come on. So I'm going to select because your business would be a corporation and because the IRS says a corporation is its own person, now there's no tax evasion because now what you did was you took your Well, let's call it, yeah, you took your individual income tax, you donated it to charity up here, and then your charity invoiced a whole separate person. See that? Great question, Megan. Not trying to go off track, but what is the reason most say C corps are double taxed? Great question. Oh, that's an amazing question. Let's go here. Because there is double taxation, but I don't, people don't give you the context behind it. So here we go. In forming a corporation, prospective shareholders exchange money, property, or both for the corporation's capital stock. A corporation generally takes the same deductions as a sole proprietor. I'm gonna stop right there. A sole proprietor, I'm sorry, a corporation takes the same deductions as a sole proprietor. Hold on. Let me see if somebody caught that. A Schedule C sole proprietor. A corporation takes the same deductions as a sole proprietor. Can you not see how we're talking about two different people? Hmm. Anyway, it's the small things that tickle my fancy. I ain't gonna lie. It's the small things that just jump out at me like, whoa. Anyway, so the profit of a corporation is taxed when the corporation earns money. So what does that mean? You work for Walmart. Walmart pays you a salary. When Walmart makes money, Walmart is taxed. The profit of a corporation is taxed when they earn it. And then when Walmart decides to pay its shareholders, all of the people that are investing, then the shareholders have to pay taxes on the money that they receive. They pay in taxes and they get paid in the form of a dividend. This creates double taxation. Why? Because when you are the owner of Walmart and you take a dividend from Walmart, because Walmart has to file taxes on their own tax return, they have to pay taxes. Because you file taxes on your own personal tax return, you have to pay taxes. Double taxation. People never explain that, right? Because they automatically tell you you're going to be taxed twice. What they're not telling you is you're the owner and the shareholder. Y'all file taxes on two separate tax forms. You have to pay taxes. But if they're going to do that, hmm, then they also have to give you this. When a shareholder gets a dividend, there are two types of dividends: a qualified dividend and a non qualified dividend. The tax rate on a qualified dividend is 0%. It goes from 0% to 20%. The tax rate on a non qualified dividend follows the ordinary income tax rate. So if I take a dividend from a company and I treat that dividend as ordinary income, meaning I treat it just like I would any other income that I got. They gave me the dividend, I paid it, whatever the case is. Then now I'm gonna fall in the tax bracket right here because this is individual. This is the individual tax bracket. But if I allow that dividend to be qualified, let me see if I can pull this up. Mm, Try to find. All right, here we go. Qualified dividends are generally dividends from shares in a domestic corporation and certain qualified foreign corporations which you have held for at least a specified minimum period of time known as a holding period. So what am I saying? If I pay you on a dividend and you automatically spend the money, I mean that's ordinary income. But if I issue you a dividend and you hold it for 62 days, meaning you don't do Nathan, you let that dividend sit there for 62 days, it becomes a qualified dividend. In other words, stop being so quick to spend your money. That's it. Because now this seems more attractive than anything else. Imagine $500,000, 15%. $500,000, 35%. Why would you know? And now, hold on. Why would you knowingly pay 35 when you can pay 15? Why would you knowingly pay hell 22% when you can still pay zero if you're married? Logically, that doesn't make sense. If the goal is to satisfy the tax, this should be a clear slam dunk. Any question? Any other question? Megan, that was a good question. That was actually a good question. Cool deal? Good. And that was another thing. Uh, 1 second. That was another piece of information that I want to share with you all. Now, let's talk about in the event that something happens to you as a okay, hold on a second. As a single guy, keeping it under 47,000, is that a bad thing on the personal side? No. Um, Not at all. So, great question. Number one, if you are not trying to make a big purchase in 2 years, let's call it a house, let's call it a car, like let's just say that you have all of those things already. There would be no reason for you to take more than $47,000. For what? Right? You're not trying to make a big purchase where people can see like your income qualifies you for something. If you already have those things, hell, take $15,000. Who cares? There's no need for you to put yourself. I mean, 47,000 is fine, but there's no need to like for in that particular case. There's no need to say, "Man, I want to show that I'm making $200,000." Why? Fully execute the tax law. Like, why do you want to go on record to say that you make 200,000 or 100,000? For what? Who are you trying to please? There's no reason for it. So the other point that I was going to bring up is, a lot of times when we talk about generational wealth, we're talking about leaving a legacy. We're talking about I want to leave something for my kids. I hear that all the time from business owners. I started my business because I want to leave for my kids. You can't leave something that's tied to you for your kids because an a LLC, there's only, and here's the crazy part. And you're forming an LLC, you either can have a member or a manager. Nothing about that says that you own anything. Just in that alone. A shareholder basically is saying that you hold something in that company. Nothing about the word member nor manager says that you own or hold anything. You're literally managing the day-to-day operations. If you die, you no longer can manage it. Are you a member? You can't be a part of a group if you did. I want people to understand that again, I understand your intent was to do this or do that, but you're using the wrong vehicle. No, not with an LLC, you can't. And here's why. Great question. Whenever you form an LLC and you place that LLC in a trust, so they say, in order for you to make a change at the Secretary of State level to an LLC, you have to give permission. You can't give permission if you're dead. Again, it's only members and managers. That's it. That's it. I know everybody and their mama, good morning, Ken. Everybody and their mama putting, LLCs in a trust. Okay. You can't make changes at the secretary like that. You know what it is? Let me share this. I can't go to the Secretary of State and make changes to it without your permission. I can't. Because interestingly enough, right? Now here's the crazy part. You can't go get two EINs for the same company. What am I saying? I'm saying that if you are a single member LLC and you die, your EIN number is attached to you. I can't just take over your EIN number and you can't transfer it to me. You did. It's real. It's real. And it's unfortunate that most people don't think that far ahead. I mean, I get it, right? We barely have people that are purchasing life insurance. I get it. I understand. I understand the world that we live in. We wait to the last minute. I totally get it. Do you know how many situations that I've had to deal with where a person of an LLC had passed away and they had land or they had property that, you would think would just transfer over. It don't work like that. It don't. And unfortunately, so many people just don't even realize that. And it all goes back to here. It all goes back to this. As a single member LLC, you are automatically classified as a disregarded entity. Disregarded is to pay no attention to, treat as unworthy of regard or notice. I didn't make it up. To pay no attention to, treat as unworthy of regard or notice. When you are a single member LLC, you are a disregarded entity, as you seen as a disregarded entity, as being being separate from the owner. That means that you are not a separate entity. You cannot possibly be, because the LLC is not a person. And for people who believe an LLC is a person, I'm gonna take you right back here. The term United States person is a citizen or resident, a partnership or a corporation. Nowhere on this page you will see that an LLC is a person. All day long, Keith. So if the LLC isn't seen as a person, how can we dare call it a separate entity? We can't. We simply can't. And unfortunately, I can share this information with people till I'm blue in the face. There's just some people that still believe that it's a separate entity. You have to want, and again, this isn't some conspiracy theory, y'all. Like, this isn't information that you were never supposed to find out. This is information that's right there for you to read. We just don't read, nor do we take time to try to understand it. We all good on that? Cool. So, again, I cannot leave this live. I can't even continue further. I'm going to take a few minutes just to go over it. As I mentioned, my name is Dwayne Williams. I sit the CEO chair of Mac Enterprise Consulting. My job is to help people with a business plan. My job is to help people create a business that has its own identity, register the business properly, help you with a logo and a website, help you establish business credit, work with you to do your bookkeeping so that way we can keep track of all your expenses. Because if we do that the right way, we can generate our profit and loss statements, our financial statements. So that way, when it comes time for tax season, we're not scrambling and you say, man, I got to get all my receipts. You don't have to do all that. I help people register with sam.gov accounts. We help people with Better Business Bureau profiles. I also help people with business contracts. So typically, when people go through the journey to success, I give them a sample of all business contracts that they should be able to use. One second. And then I also help people when it comes to insurance recommendations. I help you with your trademark applications, and we do set up trusts here. I help people with all of those things. Some people can afford it, some people can't. But if you are interested in allowing me and my team to do all of the setup for you, that entire package would typically run right around $14,000. So, in the event that you are unable to afford us to do everything, is why I offer a class for $699 where you can learn why are all of those steps so important. What is a business plan? How to write one? What is an LLC and what is not? How to build your own business credit by yourself, how to get funding, and how to build that legacy. I offer ebooks and all of those things that you can actually learn to do it for yourself. For $699, the equivalent of that is $14 a week. I also have a membership where I take you to business owner college. I teach you how to be a shareholder for $20 a month. And this is, you get two classes every month, and it would be on a Tuesday at 7 p.m., like every other Tuesday at 7 p.m. And we teach you the fundamentals of how to automate your business. We teach you, branding and marketing, SEO. We teach you a lot of these things on the back end. And last but not least, I would like to say that, the reason why I always encourage business owners to set up this legacy builder is so that way they can start what I call the $1,000 rotation, where you're just taking money and you're rotating between all of those companies. So that way you can go ahead and secure funding without ever having to use your social ever in life again. You can remove that one hurdle that continues to plague so many people by just setting this up properly. And we can do that for you. There's two packages here. You can get one for 24.99, or you can get it for 19.99, and we can help you. And the difference is, the one for 24.99, we basically open your nonprofit for you, and we complete your 501c3 application for you as well. All the other companies, we would open all companies with the exception of your operating company. We would open the parent, the real estate investment trust, the holding, and the nonprofit. We would run those out of the state of Wyoming, because Wyoming doesn't have taxes. I get it, love bomb. And I know it's from a sincere place when you ask that, but here's the reality: you have some people that are ready to do it, and some people that are not. In all honesty, I decrease so much of my value. Um, thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, by just telling people, hey, I can show you how to make $1 million. It's going to cost you $14 a week. Like, that just doesn't add up. So I think what happens is, there's a point in life where some people can either afford it, and some people can't. But no, I would never, because here's what's going to happen. There are people that have taken that class in a whole weekend, because it's 6 hours. I know without a shadow of a doubt, people are not going to pay me $14 a week until even if they finished it, they're not going to do it. So no, but I say the $14 a week because I want people to understand that $6.99 is affordable. You just got to save for it. So anything that you need when it comes from a business perspective, we can help you. You just have to want it. And right now, I actually have the team on the phone with the Internal Revenue Service, because we were doing self-employment tax credits for people, and we did a lot of them. Um, and the statute of limitations won't allow us to go back through to 2021. But I have my team contacting the IRS right now, because I got wind. I got a wind that for some odd reason, they're still allowing the self-employment tax credits to be processed. If they are still processing self-employment tax credits, I will probably 9 times out of 10 flood everybody's email with that. Yes, sir, CJ Johnson. It sure does. Yes, sir. It sure does. And the class, and here's my opinion, in my personal opinion, and I mean this not just because it's Dwayne saying it, but let me really break down the whole class for you. What I did was, when I talk about why the journey to success is important, is this: I call these 8 steps the journey to success, and I all 8 steps is what I call the journey to success. I That class that I'm teaching about it shows why this is important. So let me give you just a sneak peek into it. When I went to a bank to get some funding, one of the first things that the bank asked me for was a business plan. And I show people the email exchange between me and the bank representative because I wanted people to understand, sure, go and get $10,000. They may not ask you for a business plan, but when you go and try to get money, I'm talking about like money, they're gonna ask you for that, right? Because any investor wants to see, show me what you're gonna do with the money. So the first class walks through every single step, and I connect the dots to show you why that's important. Because most people don't understand how one step in the process affects the other, and it all works together. I had a prime example. Let me show you. I'm gonna show you in two steps what people do when they open a business. The first thing that they do is they go straight here. Step three. They go straight to step three, and then automatically they go straight to step five. It's just a natural thing that people do. They don't think about none of those other things until they come up. So when you go apply for credit and you get denied for credit, most people will take it personal and say it's because of the color of your skin or because of your gender or because of whatever or because of where you live. Or in reality is what the creditors are doing when you're trying to build credit is that they're trying to verify the information. You registered your business by placing all of your personal information in step three. But when you went and apply for credit, you gave them the business information. They can't even match those two up. So they deny you. It has nothing to do with you told them that the business address is ABC Lane, but you live at 123 Happiness. Does that make sense? So that's part one. Part two is most people don't even know how to write a business plan. Most people don't even know what are the key components of a business plan. I teach you that. I teach you about the structures. Sure, we talk about the LLC, but I talk about all of the structures and what's important to you. Not only do I teach you how to build business credit, I give you places to go get business credit. Not only do I teach you how to get business funding, but I give you resources on where to go get it. I also teach you how to build a legacy. What does it mean to have, what is a parent company? I teach you all of that. What is the operating company? What is a parent company? What is a real estate investment trust? What is a holding company? What is a nonprofit? I teach you all of that. So basically, and in addition to that, I give you the ebook that's going to walk you through how to go open the company. I give you the actual creditors that are going to give it to you and the lenders all in ebooks, right? This is what I call your foundational courses. If you was going to go to college, they want you to have a certain set of foundational courses already completed. This is your first set of foundational things that you need to understand as a business owner. And I'm going to say this boldly because I believe it. College won't ever teach you this. I literally have a master's in business, and I was in school to be Dr. Williams. I was a year into my PhD program. Not one class I took teach what I've already placed in this course, right? In my opinion, I don't think people realize the value that they're getting for $699. You're actually changing your life. No one will ever be able to tell you something that you've never known before. Now, when it comes to the strategy and the ongoing training, this is why, okay, cool, I taught you all of that. But what you don't see is how do I automate my business? I don't teach that in that class. I teach that in the monthly membership. For $20 a month, you can go to college. Mac Enterprise University. Two classes every month. That's like you're going to get a whole business degree. And I'm teaching you all the ins and outs of business and how to maneuver money, how to go get funding. I'm teaching you all of the steps to do that. So that way, if you are a new business owner, right, the ultimate goal is to set this up. Get those three things, you can't go wrong. We had a website. Thank you, LGS. We had a website through Wix. Do you know if it can be restored at the same point without starting a new website? You would have to contact them. Depending on how long ago it was, honestly, you would have to contact them. When will Tuesday's membership replay be in the portal? Great question. I'm glad you asked that question. So for Tuesday's class, we typically send out the replay um 1 or 2 days after. Here's the challenge. And this is Dwayne being extremely honest. When we ended the class, there were a few people that stayed on the class asking questions that weren't pertaining to the class, and they were asking questions pertaining to personal situations. So we have to cut that out of the video because I don't want to place that. I mean, I just didn't want to place. So we're just in the process of editing that video. That's it. By Monday, you should have it. It will definitely be uploaded. And that's the thing. Great. And the other point is, if you join the membership, you get access to all the trainings, even the ones that I've done in the past. You get access to all of those trainings. 100%. We did have a few people start to fill out the free business assessment. Congratulations on that. You should have gotten your result. And as I've mentioned, if you haven't taken the free business assessment, it will take you 3 minutes to answer all of those questions. And if you answer all of those questions and you don't get 100%, you probably need to make a change. hmm You probably need to make a change. Sincerely. And if you're interested in one-on-one training, you want a one-on-one with Dwayne, you want some coaching, you want me to help mentor you where we take your current business and I help you work through your current business, not overall like I'm teaching a group. If you want one-on-one mentorship, I've now started my mentorship program again. It's $300 an hour, and you can either do it for 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months. I had stepped away from the mentorship program just because I felt like people weren't necessarily serious about it. I still have 4 people a part of it, but I just relaunched this program because I really want to help people. I really, really, really want to help. And everybody that has been, I can say this: the 4 people that I have currently in my program, they're doing well over $1 million in revenue. I can say that boldly and confidently. hmm Boldly and confidently. The people who have always been in my mentorship program have already seen over $1 million. hmm It's life changing. It's life changing. So I'm excited to start it up because I know that I wanted to make 20 members $1 million. And it's a great recipe if you just follow the recipe. So you can't go wrong with either one. The monthly membership of the $20 a month, that's us just going to school. The mentorship is me working, me helping you work on your business. Like one person who signed up for the membership class, he wants me to help him get his MBE certification. Not a problem. I've done that all day long. I've done that several times. So those are the type of things. Like if you need some sort of, if we need help getting you a grant, if you need, help with, how do you increase your sales? Like all of those things is, again, whatever issue that you're facing and you need help with, that's what the mentorship is about. So I have a price point for everybody. That there's not a way that you can't join the train, right? You just have to figure out where you are. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this. I had a consultation yesterday with an individual, And I was so appreciative of the conversation. And I've never shared this on live before, ever in life. But I shared it with him yesterday. So since I shared it with him, I'm gonna share it with everybody else. Because he started to tell me some of the things that he's been through. He said that he was in a car accident. Um, and he just felt like he needed to just change some things. Well, what most people don't know is I was involved in a car accident many years ago. Well, at least I don't think I did. I don't think I shared it. I was involved in a car accident many years ago, and I had a concussion so bad where I had forgot um public high school diploma. I was told that I didn't remember my name. Like I went through a period of amnesia for a while. And ever since I had that car accident, the brain injury is still there because I remember after the car accident, people, I got prescribed Adderall and all kind of stuff to help me focus. And that was another reason why I started my vegan journey because I just felt like my body was just full of chemicals, medicines, because I just, in my line of work, I have to stay on top of my game. And man, when I tell you, um, going through that process when I got in a car accident, I couldn't work for 8 months. It really showed me that if you don't have a plan in place, your life can be taken. And even if your life isn't taken, you could actually be in a situation to where you don't have no one to lean on. Like you just you can't do nothing. And that was the first time in my life where I felt so helpless because I no matter how much I went run, workout, I couldn't remember stuff. And man, if somebody ever came to my house, I have about 50,000 notepads because I had to write things down to kind of help remember, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm saying all that to say the consultation that I had yesterday it brought he thought the consultation was for him, but it was probably more for me, to be honest with you, because when he said it, that he had been in a car accident and stuff like that, it really brought back so many memories where I left the call even more motivated because if something should happen to me and I don't have my life set up like this, then that means all of the people that is dependent on me, it's like they would be stuck out. And this isn't like a guilt trip conversation. I'm saying that all to say I we can sit here and make excuses every single day on why we're not taking the step to better our business. I am telling you that I know it's easy for us to just think that tomorrow is coming, but I can assure you that there are a lot of people who tomorrow they didn't see today. Or, you think you have all of your limbs and you can work, you can move. Man, I've been around long enough to know that life can happen to anybody at any time. And the worst thing that you can do is sit in a bed going back down like memory lane saying, "Man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I could done that." Like, don't do that to yourself. So at least if nothing else, start even if you don't do business with Dwayne, and I'm gonna say it again. Even if you don't do business with Dwayne and Mac Enterprise Consulting, get help from somebody. That's it. Would I want your business? Absolutely. But I understand. I really do. All right. Any other questions before we call it a day? Y'all have been great. I do appreciate it. Just make sure that again, in any capacity, if you need help, we're more than here to help you. Um, I can teach you about this stuff all day long, but just know that I do appreciate you all taking time out of your day to listen. And again, if you are a client of Mac Enterprise, remember, I still have a few more slots for the mentorship program. I'm only taking, probably 6 more people, and then that's it. So I still have a few more slots if you're interested in it. We still have the master class going on and all that good stuff. So y'all have a great one. Thank you.